Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me cut down to the essence and teach y'all some lessons. As expected, none contestants, the full court pressing. With aggression, y'all get lost in expressions. It's blood curdling, bone rattling, skill shattering. I'm unreal, spitting ill, sounding like a drill battalion. A murderer, group of crows, but you reap what you sow. Mercenaries unrivaled, I bet I won't hear a peep when you show. Kings in the purse, surveying the landscape. You barely able to escape, we daring you to catch a break. The kick drum is like a war cry.
Hey guys, welcome back to the lab and another episode of Sundaze with the Clink Room. Today we're joined by Jake Smith. Jake, how are you today?
Doing great. How you doing?
Good. Hanging in there. I'm really excited to get you back, or to get you in here, because originally we set up a time for us to speak, and that was right when Casey went on vacation and we had no crits to talk about. So you were nice enough to work with the schedule and kind of reschedule, but here we are. We finally get to have you here for an episode of Sundaze, and I'm really glad to get you a part of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm really glad you asked.
Yeah. All right. So for those who don't know, kind of who are you, where you're from, and how did you find the Clink Room initially?
So just a small town Indiana guy. I'm born and raised in Indiana, so I'm in Kokomo now. One of those middle ground cities here in Indiana.
Right.
Yeah, I've been a hat collector for a long time. I mean, going back when I was a little kid, I always had a hat. So that's kind of where I started with the whole thing. And then I think it was in 2012, I got a job with Lids, and I worked in the store for a couple of years, and then went to the home office, which is here in Indy. So I worked for them for about 6 years in the office.
Nice.
And got the inside workings of a lot with New Era, and that was really exciting as a hat collector to get in there, and that stuff behind the scenes is really cool. And then I think I found Clink in about 21. I think it was early 21. Just as a hat collector, you find it. It pops up on Instagram, and got me. And I've been just kind of hooked on it since then.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got to spend some time at the head office a couple years ago when they flew us out to do the collab and kind of make some content. I got to see kind of the inner workings, the warehouse, how much robotics is used to kind of pack the orders, and the full shelves, and got to visit the Lids at the malls. It was a pretty cool experience. And then the HQ's just got so much cool stuff. The big hat wall, and kind of how you guys occupy downtown Indy. It was a pretty cool experience for sure. So in terms of yourself, so you're an indie guy. So who are some of your favorite teams? I guess obvious Pacers, Colts.
All the way. So I'm Colts and Pacers through the ups and mostly downs. With them, but and then randomly Red Sox fan. Just
okay.
Sense, but I went to New York back in like 2004 before they started winning.
Yeah,
and I Sox hat, and then they went on and won, and I was like, well, shoot, I broke the curse.
There you go. Funny enough, I was just watching a video. It was a throwback to one of Payton's episodes, Payton's Places, and him and Jeff Daniels were trying to break the curse for the Lions, and they're dunking whiskey and stuff like that. And surprisingly, the Lions were 1-6 at the time with Dan Campbell, and they've been 31-9 since that. So Payton, the curse breaker.
I gave it to my Colts the other day, which I knew they were going to. The Colts are, it's one of those kind of wasted seasons. But
yeah. It's tough. You guys really had someone with Peyton, and then Andrew Luck, and then his career was kind of pissed away because they had no protection for him. I mean, the guy would get hit an insane amount. But okay, cool. In terms of, So you've been like this kind of person who kind of saw it from both sides, and then was a collector. How did the collaborating with artists kind of like start with you? Like, like who were some of the first people you reached out to? Because I've been noticing your name in crits more and more often. Kind of how did that kind of start for you?
So I've always been, into art,
Yeah,
but more pencil and paper. And then, you find Clink and it's like, hey, this is two things that I'm really about coming together
yeah,
and collecting hats, and so for a long time I was like, oh yeah, I should try and do something with that. But well, you just kind of put it off, and then I'm gonna get a little bit more serious with it. Um, got an iPad and realized I don't know how to do this digital stuff, like
yeah.
and vector images and this, um, and so hopefully in the submissions that I'm putting out there, hopefully you can see some progression.
Yeah,
I think they're getting a little bit better, but I knew going into it that I didn't know, and I had to reach out to some people that did, just anybody that was willing to talk. Um, I think Soundwave was one of the first guys that
nice.
me and we worked together on one. And I reached out to Levi, and he was great. He answered a bunch of questions and spent too much time with a guy that didn't know anything. It was
Yeah, yeah,
and then you start to watch some of the videos, the Monday evening guys and the Sundaze videos, and talk with more and more people, and just everybody knows something that I don't know.
yeah.
Um, so it's been really cool to get to meet people from all over the place. Um,
Nice, nice.
it's a couple of us here too. So working with John was great on Perberus.
Yeah.
Hopefully we another version 2 of that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I got called a non-artist this week because I don't draw, or I don't put my stuff out there. But most of the artists are really cool to work with and take criticism pretty well. I think that's the cool thing about the artists is they're used to hearing criticisms for the most part, and kind of take everything with a grain of salt. So for you, when you're working with and collaborating with these artists, are you handing them kind of like rough drawings already, finished sketches, or are you just kind of throwing ideas out there?
Yeah, I'll try to put together something, pencil and paper,
Hmm.
um, throw some colors, and then I'll just send it. I'll send that picture out and try to explain, where I'm coming from and what I want the design to sell. If I'm not, if my artistic abilities are not up to snuff, it's like, oh, I really want this to give this story to tell, whatever. Um, and thankfully, all the artists that I work with are much better than me. And they really knock that stuff out of the park. Ed with Brain Freeze, I just love it.
Yeah, yeah. And that was an interesting one too because you guys took a couple different iterations. Like it wasn't the final.
The
It
second,
wasn't the first one that hit the shop right. I think the first one was more brainy, less
yep,
less skull. And that one you teamed up with Ed Weird. Um, talk about that one. So that one you've got to the hard part now. So you kind of you cracked the seal. You got your first one in the shop. It hit pre-order. You waited for the pre-order, and I think it just ended, right? The pre-order, if I'm
probably
not
about
mistaken. Oh
I
no,
think it is.
it closed for pre-order about a month ago. So now you're in the stretch of the anticipation, waiting for it to arrive, and you know, describe what that feeling is going to be for you to start seeing other people, post a mail call potentially. They might get it before or even after you. So like now it's the hard part, right? Like waiting for it to arrive.
Yes, yeah, the whole design process. That's it's so much fun. Um, Putting pencil to paper and yeah, the first one was basically a melting brain on a iPhone.
Yeah,
Um, it did pretty well, but then it didn't make the shop. So we thought, okay, let's flip it around and we had a couple of different ideas. There was like a banana split idea, and there's all kinds of stuff. But just putting brain colored ice cream in a skull that it tells the story. It gets the pun across, and Ed was so great with taking let's go with this color and that style and this and coming back with multiple different variations, multiple different colorways, and all of that. I mean, the feeling when when he said, it was like, hey, we're going to be in the shop, I mean, I was flying off of that for days.
Yeah, for sure.
And now is the hard part. Now it's just like, okay, we got the pre-production and the samples and just waiting and waiting. But no, I cannot wait to get that in hand. Obviously I ordered an extra one for my son. I ordered one for my friend. I mean, it was just like, I can't wait to see those, getting posted in the collector groups and hitting Instagram, and absolutely cannot wait.
For sure. You always remember your first. I still have mine, in the corner right there behind an acrylic box. I never even get to wear it. So, word of advice: just buy one to stock and one to rock. So mine's still on ice back there. My first Clink Room project. But yeah, all right. Can you walk us through your typical design process? Are you how do you kind of like approach creating a design? Are you starting with a concept? Are you kind of like, how do you kind of let that design evolve like organically?
Sure. Yeah. It's I mean, I've got so first of all, I've got a list of ideas. Just some of them are puns and some of them are sports themed, and just things, because you can do a million different things that are going to look really cool. And I'm just always trying to think of something, so the first step is just, oh, hey, how about this? Sounds like it could be cool. Let's go see if anybody else has done it. Because there's so many submissions, it's like hard to keep up with, and I try to see them all, but especially going back in time, if I ever step on somebody's toes, just shoot me a message. I'm not trying to steal from anybody, but and then it's you just kind of have an idea, in your head, and it's like, okay, let's put this on paper. Let's see if it's going to go anywhere. And sometimes I just can't make it work, and that's fine. Sometimes it'll be kind of piggybacking off of somebody else, and it's like, hey, do you want to work together on something like this, because it's your style or whatever. And then from there it's just going to digital, trying to make a decent vector out of it, which is, it's such a big learning curve. It's, and sometimes that goes, you get started at, and it's like, man, I just can't make this the way that I want, and you have to walk away from it for a couple of weeks or whatever, and come back and say, oh, well, that was stupid. Of course, it's, you just do it like this, So I think each design is totally different. Sometimes I did a magpie recently, and honestly, that whole concept came from a podcast that I've been listening to, and they were talking about magpies, and I was like, I don't even know what a magpie looks like. Looked it up and was like, that's a cool bird, over the course of one night, and just put it together, and it was like, I'm really excited about this one.
That's awesome.
So they're all a little bit different.
That's awesome. I actually think I have a magpie hat. It's Australian Football League, or like Aussie rules football hat. I believe it's sitting right there actually. The magpies.
They can be pretty nasty, I guess. Australian.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned a little toe stepping a little bit. Like I feel like it's inevitable with a lot of stuff. So it's cool that you mentioned doing the research part. I feel like a lot of the submissions, now whether intentional or not, it's hard for me to ever judge intent, right? Like, but like I feel like that happens, from time to time, and it's tough, right? Because as someone who's created and has been creating things for so long, do you struggle with the emotion? Do you get angry? Do you get upset that people either might not respect the work, or maybe they overlook it, or maybe you've influenced people? It's hard to know. So like I feel like Critz is, and even the world of the Clink Room is, you have all like this world that we kind of exist in, and um ideas are kind of fluid. Some make it, some don't make it, and you definitely see uh ideas kind of reuse. I mean, we've even seen Clink hats have the same name sometimes, completely different
Yeah.
concepts. I was looking at it the other day. um I think it was like the space related one, where headspace, I think it was used twice, but in two different kind of contexts. um so yeah, so it's interesting that you brought that up. So like what type of research do you do? Like do you use like the search feature in the on the Clink Room side, or what kind of research do you kind of have to conduct?
Yeah, I figure, all through this year, I've been watching basically all the submissions. I'll just go to the Clink page and look at
Yeah,
all and if it's honestly, if it's over a year old, if it didn't make it, I feel like I'm not going to rip it off. I'm not going to copy what they did.
yeah,
Concept didn't make it. Maybe we'll try something different with it, um, or even just to be the same. But yeah, certainly use the search feature on the shop, because that goes all the way back, and it's like you just search for anything that could be related to the concept that you want to do.
yeah,
So it's try to think of all the different. You get your thesaurus out and think of all the different words that mean the same thing, and search for all of those. And if you don't come up with anything on the search, then it's like, all right, well then let's give it a shot. Uh, yeah, I did a platypus earlier this year, and there's been a couple other platypus submissions. So I was like, okay, well, yeah, I don't think there's any in the shop though.
yeah,
So yeah, well, a different style, a different color, and of course, everybody else's submission is going to be better artwork than mine. So if it makes it, then great, because I think there's room for everybody.
yeah,
It's such a cool concept to have just an open source. Artists from anywhere can do their own style and make it work. So certainly you don't want to copy or rip off anybody, but if it happens to be, oh, bird, well, there's been birds, but does that mean that you're ripping off from another bird, or
yeah,
like not necessarily? You do it
yeah.
your own way.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because like some are so specific in terms of theme and subject matter, and then some are just general. Like I think of like Raphael, like he kills any animal that he does, and you know it's not like anyone can't do a panther, but he's just done so many panthers. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing, especially as we kind of advance through time, and Clink is like well over 1,000 styles of hats now. It's crazy. And then to think like how many concepts didn't make it. Like right now, we're gonna again in a few minutes we're gonna cover like 20 crits. Out of those 20, you know, they might pick two or three. And then there's like 16 things that will never get made, unfortunately. But um, I think it's a cool spot we're in because the cream rises to the top usually, and we're getting really cool um, and kind of finished designs in the shop. In terms of your style itself, like who are some of the artists that kind of inspire you? Like which ones are you collecting the most of within the Clinker?
I went through and looked up, because I have the worst memory for this kind of thing. But
Yeah,
I went through of the hats that I have, and I have on order. Who did them, and I've got a couple from Josh.
yeah,
Um,
fellow
Fantastic.
indie guy.
I love his style. It just really fits in with my style. Uh, and then I've got a few from Raphael as well. I've got Spooky Season coming.
Hmm.
Look back and it was like, oh, there he is again. There he is again.
Yeah, yeah,
So and certainly, I think some of Win Studios artwork is just it blows my mind sometimes. So Lady Nocturnal is one of my favorites.
Right.
But I really try to do different things. I try not to have a particular style,
Right.
and try to be as wide reaching as I can. So yeah, and that same thing with collaborations. If I have an idea, I'll try to look up what artist has done anything in that vein and find the best fit for it. Because there's some things that I know, like, I'm just not going to be able to pull it off, but Park is going to rock this, or whatever it is. So yeah, I try not to stick to or to pigeonhole myself too much, but
Right.
definitely realize that, and I had a few from COD. Just it was like, oh, whoops, I'm accidentally buying from the same guy, the same artist.
Right.
What do you
Yeah.
do? So,
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a really diverse kind of portfolio. Like he's even a guy that teams up with a lot of different artists too. I'm thinking like Sierra and Italu and a bunch of different people he's kind of worked with in the past. But in terms of advice, what sort of advice would you give to someone looking to get into the collaborative world, or even breaking through as an artist, to kind of because I look at yours and yeah, you made it, but there's some that didn't make it. So like, what kind of keeps you motivated to keep trying and keep going at this? Because it's not an easy process to kind of put yourself through the ringer week in and week out. Sometimes with no yield, and sometimes with it sometimes it does go right. But like, what kind of advice could you give someone looking to break in?
yeah, you have to be patient, because you're going to put out 20 things and one of them's going to hit,
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to be patient, and you have to have a passion for something, whatever it is, that if it's hats, if it's art, if it's random, minor league looking logos that are not actual minor league, whatever. If you've got some niche thing, whatever it is, try to keep that passion, and just be patient and just keep working. And then for me, I think one of the most important things is to continue, like, looking at other people's work and learning from every submission that's out there.
Yeah.
Some guys, some designers are in crits every week, and they're making the shop every week, and it's like, well, what are they doing so right that I haven't picked up yet? And so you buddy and just keep working.
Awesome. Are there any dream concepts or themes you'd like to explore in the future?
Oh, well, I can't give away the secrets.
Okay, all right, fair enough. All right, cool. So,
I want
sorry,
that
say again? Platypus. Okay, all right. If you compare the platypus concept with like a dream artist, really, who would it be? You can make your pitch on the show right now.
I think a couple of the guys that I really like their kind of like mascot work. I would say CBS. It just kills a lot of them.
Chad's the best.
And Ink Park. But I've got one working with Ink Park, so we'll.
You got one brewing there. Okay, cool. Both real professional artists. They have a good concept. I mean, Chad. I mean, he's rebranded teams. Like he's as professional as it comes, and Ink Park's such a diverse set of skills. Like he can work with anyone. Super nice guy. Super talented. You could probably pitch him a logo and he could show you 7 times he's done it, already drawn it. Like he's the best too. So shout out to John and Chad for sure. Appreciate you doing that. So let's kind of break down the week that was. So this is the second week of Fresh Colorway in Christmas theme. So the first one was named Jolly. This one's named Cole. This is pretty cool because they all look like they've been kind of like dusted with like coal dust, or like they've thrown down like a dirty chimney or something. But it's a real rad kind of set of 6. What were your initial thoughts on this drop?
On these in particular, the black is really nice. I mean, everybody's got black hats, but
Yeah,
putting that with Christmas is kind of unusual for a lot of people because you always think of the bright colors and the red and the green, and so to put this on black really stands out. And then other than that, these designs are killer designs. There are a couple of them where I thought the design got a little dark for me personally.
yeah,
But no, I mean they're all 6 killer designs. So yeah, it's a really nice drop. I
yeah,
picked up one Ollie though, so that was I was hoping it would be here today, but it didn't make it.
yeah. Don't feel so bad. Canada Post has been on strike for the last couple weeks, so my boxes have not been moving
No,
at all. So I might not even have these in time. This or even last week's drop won't have time
but yeah,
to get mine.
Yeah, that's what you get,
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. But all right, let's break down the design. So we'll start off with Candy Cane Bones by Gabe, Ginger Shred Man, and the Polar Dreamscape. What were your thoughts on these 3?
So let's see. I got to get real close here. Uh, that Polar Dreamscape is such a beautiful design. I mean, uh, just a really cool. Anything that's got that scenery inside of a silhouette like that always
Yeah,
grabs my attention. Um, and I think Ginger Shred Man is exactly what I love about Clink. Like that's so fun. Um, my first hat was hula hoops. That's why I put it up here today.
right.
And that same style, same vibe. Just that fantastic. And then I've got the skull on the sweater. So obviously, um, candy cane buns is my personal style too. Like
Yeah, for
uh,
sure.
anything with a skull on it, it's gonna grab my attention.
It's colored so cool. So like, um, the Ginger Shred Man doesn't have too much of that kind of coal dust on it, but the Candy Cane Bones one definitely does. It almost looks like a Terminator, like the Terminator skull, almost. Like it's just so kind of rad and cool. I like the thematic drops. I think the best for the Fresh Colorways where they're all the same theme and all the same colorway. Um, and then when the color really works, it just makes for like a really good drop, for sure. Polar Dreamscape too was one of the more newer designs. That one, I think they must have put this one in production before the original one landed because this is only I think this is one from this year. I think. But yeah. Then we got Naughty Nick Reflections, which always reminds me um, of Home Alone 1 and Christmas Time by Raphael. What were your thoughts on these?
So Naughty Nick just looks like me dressed up as Santa. So that's great.
So I have that body shape too.
Uh, and then the other two, fantastic designs. I'm a big fan of Cardinals, but those are the two that got a little dark on the designs for me.
Yeah.
So the colorway, of course, is great, but I thought those designs ended up just a little bit dark.
Yeah. What if I were to not see the name Cole, I would agree with you. But then now that I know that it's like the Jolly and the Cole, I think that's kind of like a cool touch that they kind of like coal dusted it all. Um, those two in particular though don't scream like bad person. You know what I mean? Like bad kid, you deserve coal. But the Naughty Nick definitely does. Like
Yeah, for sure.
that's hilarious. I think. Um, but all right, cool. So that's your fresh colorway drop of the week, and then we'll cover the last call. So for those paying attention, the next 6 hats will cover their pre-order window ends tonight at midnight, and then they'll be sent off to production. So we'll talk about Polaris, Protector, and Mystic Messenger. What are your thoughts on these 3 designs?
Okay, so all 3 of these are just fantastic. But Protector from Marlon and Chad. I just picked up Matriarch last week, in that same style, same series, if you will. Just really, really cool. I think Polaris is amazing. To get that kind of detail in there, and tell that story. The Northern Lights, everybody loves Northern Lights. It's beautiful. So that's really cool, and of course it's seasonal like that. It works really well right now. And then what was the last one? Oh, Mystic Messenger. Yeah, Wind kills everything. Yeah, I would love to work with Wind sometime, but I don't have a design good enough for his for his quality of art. It's just, but that's neither here nor there. I have not gotten any of these myself, but I would not turn them down either.
Yeah, that Protector one kind of stands out to me. It's so cool. It's that kind of figure in the clouds, kind of protecting the village almost. The colorway is rad. That black and brown with grandeur just works real well. And then Polaris, it's a cool piece because it's kind of like zooming out of Polar Dreamscape almost and getting a more like kind of realistic view. I don't love the landscapes, but I mean this one is done real well. Like it's undeniably good. So he kind of hid. Well, I mean, you're hiding in plain sight right there. The polar bear itself, which is hard to do, making a polar bear show up on snow because when you see them against snow, they're almost invisible. But he did a good job of kind of playing with the shadows to get it there. But yeah, a good trio right here. The next three are Druids, Radioactive, and Valley Heat. M. Sesma is like kind of newer to the game. I'm not too familiar with their work, but definitely Matthew Bell and Magnus are coming strong with theirs too as well. What are your thoughts on these three?
So Radioactive, which that's funny. I've got the Radioactive colorway. I've got the Fury from the Radioactive colorway. So I'm like, I got to keep them straight. That is really cool. I will freely admit that like being attacked by a dog or a werewolf or whatever is like such awful fear for me that I could not possibly. But yeah, the design is really, really cool. And same with well, not the same because I'm not afraid of fiery cactus skulls, but Valley Heat is a really cool design. I gotta say I'm with you. I'm not real familiar with the artist yet. Need to make sure that I'm following that artist. I do love a sugar skull, so
Yeah.
any Dia de los Muertos, it's always really cool. And then Druids is my favorite of this set, maybe of all six. I think that one's really cool. Anything that's mystical and cryptid esque always grabs my attention. And that I think that one's probably my favorite one out of these six.
Yeah, that one's got a lot of tricks, lighting and kind of like the outline and it's just such a cool character, and it kind of expands his like fantasy series too. Matt Bell stepping out as usual, like his kind of hockey bag. Like originally when he started, I just knew him as like the hockey guy. You just add hockey to everything, and now to see him to grow as an artist and just kind of nail down concepts, it's a cool sight to see. Radioactive is awesome too. I think the original had like a lot more yellow in it. They kind of toned it down with the funky greens, which is cool. And yeah, it's good to see like a new kind of clinker kind of enter into the chat, so to speak. So what I know about this clinker M. Sesma is that they're like a Phoenix native, so he wanted to kind of pay homage to some of the different cultures and kind of borrow from the different colorways, like that Sedona red and teal and that kind of copperish color. It's a real cool piece for sure. Hopefully we'll see them around more often. And that kind of concludes this section. From what I understand, there is no shock drop this week, so we'll be skipping that segment and we'll go right into the crits. So we will be covering the designs that go into Monday Morning Critz. So any opinions and critiques from us are just personal opinion. They are not fact. And hopefully no one gets upset this week. So this week we'll start off with Powder Penguin, Peter Strobin, number 1. Kind of a newer name in the mix here. Peter Strobin. What are you thinking of the Powder Penguin?
This is super fun. Penguins are always fun. And this guy, tearing it up on the slopes. So yeah, super fun. Looks like, maybe a couple. I always get picked on when I submit about, make your lines thicker, and it's kind of thin to me. But overall, it's super fun. I really like this one.
Yeah, I was always like a thick line guy, and then Seamus came around and shut me up because he doesn't outline a damn thing, and his thing comes out cool. So, it's a smooth piece. I would say the colorway is real cool. It's got that like vice blue that you see it in a lot of like polar jackets and ski jackets. The yellow pops off the gray, and it's just smooth piece, smooth piece. I would say the maybe the snow looks a little
almost like a cloud, but I think you get what it is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like half cloud, half snow. Kind of looks like brains, but cool piece. Real fun. It might vote real well too. So cool to see Peter Strobin enter the chat. Probably pronouncing it wrong too. I apologize in advance, Peter. Number 2. Oh, speaking of not outlining nothing, Seamus is here with the Winter Ghost. White front panel too, rail hat. That's kind of rare. And kind of has that vice blue too. What are your thoughts on this one?
When I saw this submission, of course you immediately think of like the snow leopard, and that thing. I kept at that snow leopard when it was in pre-order, and I thought, man, I don't know if it's gonna, and then you see it in hand, and it's like, that is amazing. So I saw this submission, immediately thought of that, and I was like, I hope that makes it because it's going to be super cool.
Yeah. I usually am not a big fan of like symmetrical, super symmetrical designs, but like he nailed this one, man. And yeah, I can't wait. If this one makes it, man, it will be so cool to see what Casey and the team do with the embroidery, because they're going to fill out the feathers with care and respect. This one's going to embroider real cool. I do like that he didn't go with an all white crown. I think it's kind of, with the rail, like with the white panel, kind of rail hat. It's a nice looking one, and that blue kind of sets it off, that kind of a vice, hyper blue. Yeah, this is a rad piece. Early favorite for sure. All right. Number 3, Seamus with this DJ stinks and just goes against everything I just said. Now he has outlines, so just showing his versatility as an artist. But yeah, the T-Rex DJ would suck with those small ass arms. He's kind of showing us a little bit here, but this DJ stinks. What are your thoughts here?
It's just absolutely hilarious. That's
yeah.
Of course, T-Rex always seems to vote well. Like, it doesn't matter what it's doing. So that's a solid start right there. But this one, an honest laugh out loud kind of hat.
Yeah, for sure. I was just like a little nitpicky thing. I'll probably just move his body lower and just don't even have that kind of gap in there between the tail and the kind of like lower crotch area. But yeah, like other than that, this is a funny ass piece. Can't DJ for nothing. Yeah, it's a rad piece. Yeah, and right when I make a declaration that he doesn't outline nothing, he comes back with this design and proves me wrong. So, yeah, Good work, Seamus. Number 4, The Last Stand by Verdun. Kind of like this like Matt Bell fantasy kind of
Yeah.
era piece. What are your thoughts here?
I know Verdun does a lot of knights and things in that kind of genre, and I think they always look really cool.
Yeah.
This one is amazing. I don't remember seeing this one. They might be maybe a little bit older, or I just missed it, or I just forgot. But yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of almost monochromatic in all the like the different blues he used. Obviously, there is silver to kind of pop it off, but yeah, let's just see how far they dug for this one. Yeah, April 20. They went back to April 20th for this one.
So yeah, that's forever ago. I slept since then.
Yeah,
That's got kind of a an old college kind of feel to it. Cool.
yeah. I feel like he doesn't need the point of impact lines at the top. Maybe the pose is a little bit awkward and maybe just stiffen the pose a little bit if you're gonna stab someone with the spear. But like it is a cool piece. I'm with you. I kind of plays the blues. It's like a blue on blue, and kind of plays in that kind of not monotone. And then he's got like the silver to kind of set it off. It's definitely a cool
Really,
piece. Three quarter pose. Got the motion. Um, yeah, I probably tilt it a little bit, either up or down, just to kind of have him um, leaning a little bit different. But yeah, it's definitely a rad piece.
like he's
Uh,
into battle and ready to go. So that's pretty cool.
yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, number 5, we got Infinite Future by Ink Park. We were talking about him a little bit earlier on, but just a really cool kind of piece here. Is just kind of showing off the different dimensions
Yep.
and little depth here. But what's your thought here?
So this one, when I saw it, a couple days ago, uh, because it's so different. You know, many things that are big chunky lines, and you get so many animal characters, um, and the scenery hats are always like really pretty scenes, and this one is scenery that's just flipped the whole concept. And to do the vaporwave style is so unique. It really pops off. Those colors are going to be absolutely electric. They're going to jump off of that hat.
Yeah.
The gray background kind of probably helps that, but I don't buy a lot of gray hats, so
hmm
but that's that's down the line. That's the color, the design are just killer. So that jumps. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the first couple ones we saw had this vice blue. Verdun's didn't, and then this one's back to the vice blue. It's almost like he's got this like kind of like concept to find out who's got the best vice blue in their hat. Um, this is like a digitizer's nightmare. Look at all the different intricate details in the grid, and then in the mountains, and then you got like this gradient that's happening through the thing. But he's really flexing his kind of artist skills, and this is an awesome piece. My one thing I would change would be you see where the pink triangle and the vice blue triangle kind of come in front of the sphere. I would just get rid of the line that crosses the globe, kind of make it look like it's going behind it to kind of just fake that depth a little bit more. But other than that, man, this thing's cool. Um, it, I don't know if they could pack in all that detail in the embroidery. They probably can, and if anyone's gonna do it, it would be Casey and the team. But
Right.
this is like a rad piece, man. Yeah, this is cool. All right, moving forward, we got Reflections by Wind. He's back with this like black swan um, looking piece. What are your thoughts here?
So it's beautiful. It really is. It's a really cool design. The reflection in the water is is super cool. Like I would love to be able to do something like that, because even the ripples in the water kind of mimic the feathers in the bird.
Yeah.
Only drawback to this is that he's got messengers in the shop right now.
Yeah.
Two back to back birds in virtually the same colorway. The blues are a little bit different, but maybe mix up the colors or something like that to give it a little bit different look than the last one. Because again, I always want something different all the time. So, but the art is really cool, of course. Win kills it every time.
Yeah, he's got those stars at the top. It kind of reminds me a little bit like of Noble North. I don't know if you're too familiar with their work, but they always kind of use that kind of North Star. It's kind of have like adds a little whimsical feel to it. I don't know if I love that teal color, but yeah, it's you hit it right on the head too. He's got Mystic Messenger, which is essentially the same kind of theme. Dark bird with a teal, bluish color, black on black too. So,
is the first color that he posted is a bright blue crown with the
okay,
black.
right,
So,
right.
This one for crits, but so he did at least attempt doing colors, and that makes it a lot different than the Mystic Messengers.
Yeah, true. Well, you're lucky you still can see his work. He does not make his work available for me to see, unfortunately. But good piece nonetheless by Win Studio. Number 7, we got Matt Bell back with the Shadow Lurker. What are your thoughts on this one?
This one's really cool. That the concept of this, I'm getting like Chernobyl meltdown kind of vibe. The hand is huge.
Yeah.
So that's I'm sure that it would embroider really well, but at first glance, when I first see it, it doesn't quite look like a hand to me. Like when you zoom in on it, you're like, oh, okay, now I see it. So it's probably going to be fun. But just at first glance, you could almost just do without the hand, and have the guy around the corner with the flashlight, and it would be really cool.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion, I guess. Anything orange is always going to pop for me. I got the Marshmallow, so that black and orange is always a winner as far as colorway goes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would do without the hand too. But sorry, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
I just added on. I said great job with the light, the flashlight, getting the dimension. Dimension and light is a weird thing to try to capture.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it needs the hand, but I think the hand kind of works into his concept of it being a shadow lurker. I would almost try to get rid of the hand and kind of tilt him diagonally and have him kind of peeking out the crease of the middle, and then have the light kind of shine over the crease, so he's kind of peeking around the corner. And we've seen a lot of like the peeking designs kind of being executed in the minor leagues, like I think like the 51s, and then I think Binghamton did a Copa version of that, and we've definitely done our fair share at the Capologist with the peaking designs. But I would definitely probably just kind of tilt him so he'd be kind of like leaning around a corner, but then having that that flashlight shine over and break that barrier, and then it'll just balance the hat off a little bit, kind of have his hand kind of resting on the crease of the hat. I think that'd be real rad. But yeah, Shadow Lurker, Matt Bell, cool piece for sure. Reminds me of a lot of these, like those are kind of like video games that kids play now with the like Among Us, and then that horror game that everyone plays and everyone's in that hazmat suit. I forgot what it's called, but it's a PC game. And they're always getting freaked out with the thing. I'm sure people are screaming it in the comments right now, but cool piece. yeah. I haven't played a piece on a PC in like 20 years. So I'm behind. But I definitely seen clips of people getting freaked out in that game. But all right, Polar Bear by Levi. What are your thoughts here?
My first thought with this, A, is really cool, and B, it's very reminiscent of Diamond Call,
By
and
Raphael, right?
that one was killer. So yeah, this is right in the same kind of style, with obviously a polar bear instead of a Kong. I would expect this to do really well because that Diamond Kong was so cool. Then you get a different colorway with this, with the navy, and again you've got the light blue under, and just a really cool take on that sort of style. And it gives you something different. I missed on Diamond Kong. I was like, yes, no, and my wife was like, I don't like it. I was,
Well, when you get
so
to a certain point, she's gonna tell you that she doesn't like most of them.
ordered as many as I have this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was putting together the slides, I try not to look at them too much, but when I was kind of putting them together, I'm like, oh yeah, Raphael's back. That was my initial thought, because this did remind me of Diamond Kong a lot. So it was interesting to see that it was a Levi's submission. I think he killed it, man. This looks real cool. It's a real rad piece. Reminds me of those like Swarovski crystals, where they do like the different animals and stuff like that. So it's rendered nice. It's a beautiful piece. Like he's playing with different colors and textures to kind of mimic textures. You can almost like feel it through the screen. So when that thing embroiders, it's going to be a real rad piece for sure. And yeah, I don't think Diamond Kong's even. Yeah, so we're not set to get Diamond Kong until February. Holy. So we won't get to see kind of one of these like crystal designs, kind of how they look in hand. But I'm sure this thing's going to do well. It's a good piece for sure. All right. Number 9, the Portrait by Milos. What are your thoughts here?
So the concept is cool. When I saw this, my I wish the frame was a rounded frame instead of being square.
Yeah.
See a lot of squares. And so as I'm like thinking through that, I'm like, well, you don't see a lot of squares. Maybe we should do a square, So the dog is super cool. I'm actually tonight and tomorrow I'm doing this little production that's a Christmas thing that's set in the 20s, and so it's like right up what I'm doing right now. And yeah, but that was my only thought on this. Is the square the right frame? Should it be sort of an old oval kind of frame?
Yeah.
You could flip a coin probably, but the concept and the name of it are just fantastic.
Yeah, the art's really mature. It's real cool. I say mature, but then it's also like really funny. It's literally a dog in a suit. But I'm with you. The frame, it's tough to pull off because for embroidery, those straight lines, like if it comes crooked, then it's going to be so obvious. So you almost would rather him kind of switch to an oval frame and kind of have it. It doesn't even necessarily need to be all framed within the picture. Like I'm okay if the top hat, pokes out of the frame too, to kind of make it work. But yeah, it's a real rad piece. Tan black, like this Vegas gold and black is always going to work. He kind of looks like he has like this olive under visor. You don't really see any olive throughout the piece, so I probably would switch it to like a gray bottom. But yeah, it's just a rad piece. But I'm with you. I think I'd play with the frame a little bit. It's not that it looks bad. It's just in practical sense. Like if it doesn't embroider perfectly straight, I could just see people complaining like crazy. And then that's a fault of New Era, I think. I do a lot of Rockies hats, and the mountains, the bottom of the mountains. It's just so obvious when they don't stitch it straight, and it's so bothersome. So I would just avoid that headache altogether. But definitely a cool piece. If you're to guess, what kind of dog is that? It kind of looks like a boxer. houndish kind of dog. We're
Could
usually really
be.
good at dog math. Kind
I
of
don't know.
beagle-ish almost.
Almost.
Beagle-ish boxer.
Yeah, he
But
doesn't specify post, but yeah, somewhere in there.
yeah,
Just Eric dog, good looking dog.
yeah. Really demure.
Yeah.
Very mindful. All right. Good job, Milos. Oh, we got one. We got one in here. Two for the show. One for the money, two for the show. All right. Tell us about this one.
So the name on that is kind of a misnomer there. That was just version 2, but I used the song, one for the money, two for the show in the post. That's why I posted that. The original name was, I think, Let's Go Bowling.
Okay.
We're excited to see this. I grew up bowling. You know, when you're in small town Indiana, we don't do a lot of really exciting things. We go bowling.
Yeah. What's your high score?
Oh, I've got 2 300s. Yeah.
2 300s. Okay. Oh, yeah, fancy. Okay. Yeah.
So
I'd get 300s if you combine 3 games.
I'm very passionate about bowling, and been in, I don't know how many different centers, and so many really cool neon signs out there. Um, it's just the neon stuff that Clink has done. I've got light them up right behind me somewhere. So that glow in the dark neon sign just always looks really cool. And so I was kind of trying to dip my toe into to that. And so the white lines around the pins and the balls in the back of the shape in the background there. I want all those to glow. It just I'm really excited to see that because bowling is right up there with art and hats. For me, it's an absolute passion. So
That's awesome.
hope it makes.
That's awesome. And you didn't collab with anyone. This is strictly yours.
That's my first. I think it's my first solo hat to make crits.
Cool.
So I think
cool. That's awesome, man. Happy for you, man. It's a good timing too. Definitely rad colorway, black gray, black with this like graphite with a green under. Green is my favorite undervisor color, so you definitely nailed that. And you nailed the theme of the week, whether you meant to or not. The Vice Blue is a prevailing as well this week. I don't know if Casey went and looked for all like the Vice Blue hats, but here we are. Good luck to you tomorrow. As this airs on Sunday. But moving forward, Seamus has another one. So back to the non-outlined Seamus that we know and love, the Desert Card. What are you thinking here?
Well, I mentioned earlier that I always like cardinals. Just a little sentimental. That's my mom's favorite bird, so I see them all the time. And she's giving me cardinal things. It's like, oh, it's your favorite bird, but whatever. This one's really cool. You always see him. I think he even said this in the post. You always see him with winter. You see him on snowy tree branches and stuff. So for this one to go on the thorns, with the desert colored crown, gives you a totally different look for it. I think the only thing that would work against this is that Noble North has that cardinal Christmas drop here just very recently, the last week or two. They've had a cardinal that's similar, because it's a cardinal. It's really the only reason it's similar. No, I think doing a cardinal in a different environment is a really cool concept. The crown color works as far as making it look deserty. It's just not my favorite color. But that's me.
Yeah, so he mentions in the post this particular cardinal, I can't even pronounce this word. PYRRHULOXIA. Pluralixa is actually native to the southwest and northern Mexico. So he's I did not know that he spent some time in AZ. He said he spent most of his life living in Arizona. So that's cool. Kind of shout out to that region and just cardinal being a little bit different. Because at first, if I didn't know any better. Just would look like a dusty cardinal. So here he is teaching us about
Right.
animal and bird taxonomy. But yeah, cool piece. He's on those kind of thorn um, uh, tree branch. I think the feet get lost a little bit because it's almost the same color as the crown, but I mean that's just nitpicking it. Smooth piece for sure. Seamus 3. It's gonna be hard for him to get in all of them, but definitely he's given us food for thought. But yeah, Seamus with his 3rd entry this week. Good job, man. Moving forward, number 12, creature with a different kind of bird, the bird nerd creature, and Rick Clifton tagging in. Got a little bit of ice blue button and kind of like a tealish turquoise kind of. But yeah, what do you think of this nerd kind of parrot macaw looking bird?
They posted 2 colorways for this, and this is the one that I really like.
All right.
Those colors together are just they really pop. And yeah, the concept is funny. The taped up glasses over the beak. That's really cool. I don't even have anything. I don't know. You could color visor, but no, there's not much I would change with this at all.
Oh yeah, I see his alternate colorway.
Yeah, like a
that kind of navy and gray, that kind of Georgetown.
Yeah.
Thing. So the African gray, talkative and full of personality. Yeah, I like the ones that kind of teach you stuff. Yeah, the bird nerd, definitely a cool piece. I like how they kind of chose to end it with that kind of like the feathers kind of at the bottom of the neck, and they didn't force too much of like the other body parts on you. It fits the hat real well. I think it'll stitch real good and kind of capture those the details within the feathers. Yeah, really rad piece for sure. All right, moving forward, we got Psy Guy by Low Tide Concepts. Again, another kind of vice blue on blue. Yeah, this color is kind of dominating this week in crits for sure. But what do you think of Psy Guy here?
Everybody's cold. It's cold outside. We're all cold.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's a cool design. I know it has nothing at all to do with Pokemon, but
yeah,
what I thought of. It's probably more like Avatar, if you want.
Yeah, some type of anime. Yeah,
but I think it fits right into that kind of, like, if you're a fan of those things, then this is probably right up your alley. It's I know it's a symmetrical design, or mostly symmetrical here.
yeah.
But no, that's pretty cool. It really is. I can see the way that would embroider your little guy in the middle there would really stand out, being raised up and the different color. That would really pop and really look cool. And you could do any colorway with this. You know, it could be the various blues here, or you can go black and gray, black and red and yellow. Put it on an orange hat. That would really stand out. Yeah, it's a cool concept. You could do about anything with it.
Yeah, definitely a fun piece, cool piece. Low Tide Concepts, bringing the heat. Yeah, it is like almost symmetrical, but then you see like the face. He kind of played with the shadowing to kind of make it non, and I think his hairstyle makes it non-symmetrical, but for the most part, it is symmetrical piece. I almost would want like a little bit more randomness to it. I think just change the waves on one side to be a little bit different than the other side to kind of break away from that kind of symmetrical look. That's just me kind of nitpicking. Probably play with the feet, pose a little bit, kind of make him standing more straight. I think you don't really need that gap. Yeah. But yeah, definitely a cool piece for sure by Low Tide. All right, moving forward, we got Wind with Glory What are you thinking here?
So another real, American traditional tattoo kind of vibe on that.
Yeah.
Between this one and the rose that I don't know how many iterations his rose has had. I think I prefer the rose a little bit over this, but I mean, you can't go wrong with a tattoo panther. There's a reason that design has persisted through, long as Sailor Jerry has been doing those.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, anytime you can get that traditional tattoo style. My first couple of tattoos were in that style, so it's definitely something that should be pretty popular. The gray crown I already mentioned. I don't do a lot of gray crowns. I think the only gray clink I've got is Burnout that just landed within the last month or so. So I don't do a lot of gray crowns. So I would probably look to do, sort of a probably not navy because you maybe lose some of the logo, but you could put it on a little bit brighter blue or a deep red, and it would grab me a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's just me personally. And as I'm looking at it, I don't think you need the action lines coming off the back of his neck there.
Yeah, speed lines. Those are two things I would avoid too: the speed lines, and I think the random 2 stars out the mouth. I almost feel like I would get rid of all the stars. Like it's
Clean it up a little bit.
Like the style is already American traditional, and like I feel like it's like the other American parts of it is a little bit like forced, like the stripes and the stars. You don't really need it. You don't really see that used either in that kind of tattoo style. But it is a cool take on like the American traditional kind of style of like I guess art. It's like hyper realistic. It kind of goes against everything that style is. It's more of like a flat styling, kind of working away from that kind of colorway that they stick with. But to me, it does remind me a little bit too much of Aurelian's Classic Panther, kind of the same kind of pose, same kind of subject matter, but it is at least done in a different kind of style. So he did try to, I guess, improve on an already existing kind of concept, and by no means did he invent that theme either. Like that Classic Panther has been around forever, so but yeah, all right, number 14 by Win. Let's see what else we got here. Number 15, the Sorcerer, Matt Bells and Whistles is back, kind of with an expansion of his fantasy theme. We've got this Cammy looking kind of chick, ready to throw the hexagon at you. What are you thinking here?
So let's see if I can find it here, because this was posted a while ago, wasn't it?
I can try to see how long ago. Kind of want.
We've had
look there. He dug deep this week.
Holy cow! January.
January. Okay. Yeah.
No, that is really cool. And I'm not. I've never played D&D or been into like the dice games. Like I said earlier, I'm not a gamer really of any kind. But that is really cool. The colors on that are just, fire to do, pun intended.
Yeah.
And D&D has had like this renaissance in the last few years. You got the movie too. So this could be really popular. And it's really, it's kind of uncommon to have a female character. And so anytime we get one, and certainly one that's done this well, it really stands out and grabs my attention, and that's really cool. You got a lot of dynamic motion in the pose and the hair and the fire. Yeah, that's really cool. Is that crown brown?
Yeah, it looks like it's like a burnt wood, dark brown with wheat and like a orange under and button.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of brown, but I think I would do this one because that's really cool.
Yeah,
That stands out as something unique.
it's a cool piece. Like her hair almost looks like an eagle wing or like a hawk's outstretched wing. I'd probably play with the positioning of it a little bit more. So he kind of has it like working on a diagonal. I'd kind of just increase that edge and just kind of make it operate more like that. But yeah, it's a cool piece for sure. And it definitely would add to his kind of fantasy series that he's got going on. Definitely a cool piece. All right, number 6, the Ice Falcons.
Yeah.
Um, back with the Vice Blue. So Ink Park. I think the original one was more of like a Jason kind of colorway, like a Camp Crystal Lake kind of olive and red and stuff like that. So now he's brought the Ice Falcons back
Yeah.
for V2. What are your thoughts here?
I thought this one was really cool the first time around, and I was surprised that it didn't get through. So I'm glad to see it again because that's a really cool design, really cool concept, and it looks legitimately like like a hockey team.
Yeah, like a minor league team would use this for hockey or something.
So I mean, the name of it and everything, the look of it, it all sounds legitimate. That's really cool. And I think I like this colorway better than the original too.
Yeah, it's a real cool piece. I don't know if it needs so many lines at the back kind of edge. I'd kind of clean that up a little bit, but it definitely is a cool piece. It almost like he's like going from like a dust kind of streak into like a more solid thing. So I do like that progression. But yeah, John's super professional, super good. Like you said, I could just picture like a minor league hockey team
Absolutely.
using this. Rad color, and he nailed the theme.
Yep.
Theme of the week, Vice Blue. All right, let's see what's next. Rawhide, Coney Manning. What do you think of this?
Okay. Let me see if I can find that. It's very Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that was my thoughts. My first thoughts too.
Yeah, it seems like it might be two Cleveland Browns, and not to say that he's like trying to rip off the Browns, but like just in terms of what New Era can do.
Yeah.
But I mean, so we had a bulldog, and I can't remember, was it Chad? Yeah, somebody did a bulldog not long ago, and it was like the navy and silver colorway, and I think
Yeah. They had to pick the non-team color version. He had like so many colors. Like one would look like a Georgetown Hoya, the other one looked like a Cleveland Browns, and
yep, and of course, Indiana, we've got the Butler Bulldogs, which are not nearly as big, but
yeah,
maybe I thought of them. Yeah, so you have to be pretty careful using a bulldog, but I love bulldogs, so
yeah.
yeah, cool concept. I would say on a lot of stuff that that Cody does, the lines could be a little bit thicker. Such a That it's been beaten into my head so many times. I'm going to turn around and return the favor. But I think the biggest issue on this one might be legal.
Yeah. It's a rad piece though. Just kind of the composition of it forces it to be a really tall design. I don't know how you would kind of express that without, unless you like shove most of the ball into the freaking into the mouth, which wouldn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of, the composition is tough, but the art is cool. English bulldog chewing a football. But yeah, it immediately brings up legal red flags. But I'm sure if they really wanted, Clink will navigate. This was a submission from September, so they really went deep to grab this one. I'd get a little contrast though on the visor. So the top is like that kind of burnt orange, and the bottom is in that wheat color. I'd probably go for like a green or a gray, probably, to create more contrast between the top and the bottom. But otherwise, yeah, it's a cool piece for sure. No whiskers though, so I don't know if that. I don't know if you need whiskers, but it's just one of the things I just noticed talking out loud. But yeah, cool piece,
Yeah.
for sure. Rawhide. It's also like a that's like a type of dog tree too, right? Rawhide.
Yeah, I think you're.
Um, yeah, I'd be upset if my English bulldog broke my football though, for sure. Um, but all right, Big Flies teaming up with Phil Hauser for the beer battered fish. What are you thinking of this one?
This is really fun. This one I feel like came out a little while ago too. Made it a while ago. But all this one, I thought, yeah, that's it. That's flavor to it. The pun is fantastic. The art is very minor league looking. It's great. The colorway is so unusual that I kind of love it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
outside of every shot.
Looks like Vegas and like a olive green,
Yeah,
which is definitely not the norm. It's
yeah,
cool though.
absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those things that yeah, in my never-ending search to get something different than what I already have, this is very different in all the right ways for me. Um, and even like the red under is feels like a bold choice, but it works really well. The button and the under.
Yeah, it's good pop color to like that kind of neutral olive colorway on the visor, and then the kind of Vegas gold on the crown. It's red definitely pops off, and I do like how they work the double entendre in there. Like the bat itself is a beer bottle, so that's kind of cool. Um, the fish looks like a disgusting fish that I wouldn't want to eat, but normally I guess you would see like I guess if you were to fry it up, normally it'd be like a halibut, I guess, or like a cod or whatever. That doesn't look like either, but it is a cool piece. And Phil's stuff always has so much personality.
Yes, it does.
It's almost like he's like a new school artist in terms of like tattoos. If you follow like new school style, like that's kind of like some of the stuff he kind of embodies, like the exaggerated details and the warped perspective. It's just so fun. Uh,
Yeah, I'd be
mhm.
interested from the guys what kind of fish it is. Being a Midwest guy, I'm not a big fisher, but I've been
Yeah,
fishing. So it makes me think like bass or catfish or somewhere, in that. We're going lake fishing and you bringing a cooler. Um, so yeah, it's perfect.
yeah. If you were to just cover the body and look at the face, it almost looks like a frog. But
Yeah,
it's ugly enough for it to work. I don't know if it's a specific fish he took reference to, but it's definitely um an ugly in a good way, an ugly son of a bitch, right? Like it's a cool piece. It's definitely fun. He's almost daring you to fry him. All
gonna.
right. Yeah, yeah. All right. Moving forward. Oops. 19. We got Heather with bugged. What do you
Oh,
think of it?
this one was really cool. That's another older submission if I remember right. And yeah, the colors on this, you got your, well, it's not quite the same blue, but got your bright blue in there.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. Yeah. That blue's in there though. Definitely that like vice color blue.
I mentioned earlier I've got the radioactive, the Fury, the radioactive colorway from Fury. uh,
Mhm.
and so that kind of bright color immediately jumps out, grabs my attention. um, and this is it gives a little bit of like Mothman vibe, but it's entirely different than other Mothman things that we've seen. And I don't think that's even what she was necessarily going for, but yeah, really cool. Yeah, and it stands out a lot different than a lot of her other work. um, so this it stands out in a lot of really good ways. um, Trying to think if I would make any big changes on this. Um, I'm not seeing anything that I don't love about it.
Definitely a cool piece. Almost feel like it's missing like a pair of arms potentially. The the lower pair is like negative space black on the bottom, and then he's got the two arms, and then like nothing kind of up top or kind of in the front. Um,
Yeah, just kind of the wings kind of being.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Is that all these like hyper neon colors too? Usually work together pretty good, but I feel like the blue and the purple kind of throw it off a little bit. You're already like playing with a lot of neon when you got like that hyper green with the infrared. So I don't know. I feel like the balance is off a little bit
That was
in terms of the coloring. Um, but yeah, it's a rad piece for sure. Kind of like a skullish, armorish head. Um, like a moth isn't usually something you ever see or picture as something like kind of fierce or whatever, unless it's like a Godzilla movie. But definitely an interesting piece. Bugged. All right. Last but not least, beatboxing. Sierra Gon's elite level pun. What are you thinking on this one?
so yes, the pun, fantastic. And this takes me back to when I was, a kid, 7 or 8, whatever, watching Doug on Nickelodeon, because the band that Doug he was the Beats.
Mm-hmm.
Doug and Skeeter always go crazy for Beats tickets. And this immediately is what I think of with this. So it's got nostalgia, it's got a great pun, it's got a funky colorway. So yeah, it checks all the boxes for me. Um, yeah, absolutely. And I think this was version 2 on this. I don't remember. I feel like there was a couple of different versions of this one. Um, and yeah, I think I liked them all. But yeah, this is great.
Yeah, it's definitely a rad piece. I don't know if I love that kind of like golden yellow in it.
And I like
But
drive
it
on.
is a good pop color.
Yep.
I feel like the red in the gloves and the actual beat color beat.
Mm-hmm.
It's not almost not enough contrast. I know
Yep.
typically boxing gloves are red anyway. Um, Maybe you can go like Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson black style gloves, but then you kind of lose a lot of the detail if you were to do that. But yeah, it's a cool piece for sure. Elite level pun.
Yep.
Um, my
Well,
issues with it is I think slight colorways choices, but it's a good piece.
I know a lot of people got tired of the puns, but I can't get enough of them. Dad joke puns all day.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, right? Like naming it is hard. Like for me, uh, that's like the part of the hat that I enjoy the least. It's because sometimes you get too wrapped up in the name and you force it. I feel like you have to force it into like a round object in like a square peg almost. But to get a good pun is it like it's good.
Yep.
So I think you did a great job. Um, but all right, man. Thank you so much. You've been so gracious with your time. Well over an hour, right into football and kickoff for the people watching Sunday. So we'll kind of end it here. Do you have any last thoughts before we kind of sign away and head off for this Sunday?
I would just say, the community is fantastic. Coming into not knowing what I was doing and getting a lot of really helpful feedback. It's been great to get the kind of support and the followers that I've picked up. If you're not following me, follow me, and vote for me.
Yeah.
Another one in the shop. My goal for 2025 is to have like 5 more hats at the shop over the course.
Nice.
And if this one makes it from the vote, I'm going to count it as 2025. So
Fair enough. Well, the pre-order will end in 2025. So
yeah, and it'll deliver hopefully in 25. So we're going to count that. But yeah, no, I just thanks for having me on. It's been really fun. I'll talk about hats all day. So don't worry about
awesome. Yeah, man, and like I mentioned in the beginning, you were so gracious to number one get pushed for that Sierra week, and then number two, push again because we had no crits to talk about. So when we got the crits back, you were the first person I had to get back on the show. So appreciate you being flexible, and it's a pleasure kind of getting to know you on a personal level. And I hope everyone does go follow you. So the letter C, Jake Smile with a Y. So C, Jake Smile. Make sure you guys follow and tap in with Jake. And for Jake and Leon, we're out of here. Peace.
You're at the end of the world as you know it, my dude. Time is up and you out of mood, so what will you do? It's the BP mercenaries not here to...
Brought to you by VFTV.